Hello, friend, and welcome into another behind the scenes, a little glimpse at the author's hearts in this life-changing stories compilation. One of the authors is with me again here, Wendy Wallace. Wendy, thank you so much for spending a few extra minutes. I can speak extra minutes with us today.
Well, thank you so much, Angie. I'm really excited to be here and to be part of this wonderful just story compilation. It's
I
just a
love
great.
it. I love it. Yay, Mary. Yay, butterfly living. Yay, all of those things for pulling us all together. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Your story is so powerful, and it's partly powerful because the journey that you've been on, I know, has been quite difficult. But it's also so powerful, Wendy, because I feel the joy and the trust and the just I guess the exuberance. I'm not sure that's the right word, but just there's something in it, like, that's just really like, hey, this is my story and this is what God is doing. And so I just want to say right off the bat, thank you for being able to do both, to say this is really hard and God is really good. I love that. That's what I picked up as I was reading your story. But talk to us a little bit
You
about.
nailed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yay. 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 Well, tell us a little bit about your story. And as you have been able to look back on that season of your life, even though it's ongoing, but at that season of your life, how did God reveal a need for transformation in your heart?
Well, 12 years ago, I contracted what I thought was the flu. Turned out to be necrotizing fasciitis, which is a flesh-eating bacteria. And, you know, within hours, I was in the hospital, unconscious, and then they were operating on me, multiple surgeries. I don't even know how many surgeries. And I was in a coma for like 3 weeks. And when I woke up, they had amputated my hands and my feet. And so I am a quadruple amputee. The doctors told my family, she's not going to make it. You might as well prepare for her passing. And I think one of the greatest parts of my story is what my husband told the doctor, which is, you don't know my God and what he is capable of. So go work on her and we're going to pray. And I had people all over the country praying. And what's cool is I'm still meeting people who prayed for me 12 years ago that I never knew. But, and they told two friends and so on and so on and so on. And the power of prayer just, I truly believe, altered
Mm.
what God had planned for me.
I have one thing I want to say about my own life, and then I have a follow-up question for that because 13 years ago, my family of four was in a head-on car crash, and two of us were injured real badly, and we had a long recovery process. But I will tell you, I share that because in those days, not right away because I was too broken to receive and in and out of consciousness and some of those things. But when I began to understand the gravity of our situation and how long a road our feet had just been planted on, right? It's the only time in my life that I could say I could feel the prayers of other people. Like
Mhm.
it was not, I couldn't touch it. I can't prove it, but I could feel that other people
Mhm.
were praying for us. And I won't ever forget that feeling. It was a really amazing thing. And I recall that and I'm reminded of that as you're talking about the people who
Mhm.
prayed for you during that time.
Exactly, exactly. And so the first thing I remember after I woke up and I found these bandages was my prayer to God. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do now, Lord? And it's funny because, you've been in a coma for 3 weeks and I can remember I was in the hospital for 3 months. Bits and pieces are all I have, but
Yeah.
I remember that prayer.
Yes.
And it was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I prayed it to the Lord. I've never prayed prayers or scriptures to the Lord before. I didn't know that was a thing. Right. And so, and you asked about my transformation. And so my prayer was, Lord, here I am. My family, me, we don't know how we're going to handle this, but you tell us that if we trust you in everything and we don't try and figure this whole thing out, wonder why and how, which you did, by the way, but you told us just to lean on you, not our own understanding. And if we seek you and just ask for your wisdom and your guidance through all of it, that you will direct our path. I need you to do that, Lord, because I don't know how else to do this. I
Yeah.
can't do it without you. And thinking about it, we all know people who don't have a relationship with the Lord and they go through these horrible things. How do they do it without the Lord? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Ha-
yeah,
Had you ever, this is just kind of I'm curious, had you ever heard of that disease before, the one that you contracted?
no.
No. Mm-mm.
But it's kind of like, you know, when you buy a new car and you've never seen it before, and then everywhere you go, that
All
car
of a
is the
sudden you
exact
see it
same color
everywhere.
that you
Yeah.
buy it.
Uh, uh,
So, afterwards, I mean, even in the hospital, the nurses, oh, I had that. And look at, look at where this body part has been cut off. And it was just kind of
Interesting.
bizarro world,
Yeah.
but it is just a deadly, deadly disease,
Mhm.
and people don't survive it.
Mhm. I asked the question because I'm like, isn't that what happens to us sometimes where I'm like, I didn't even know to worry about this. Right. That we find ourselves in a situation where you're like, okay, I've been scared about this or that, or wondering about this, or worried
Sure.
for my kids. And I've imagined things that could happen. But here I am dealing with something that like this wasn't ever even on my radar.
It wasn't, and the doctors won't confirm it, but I am 100% convinced it came from an ingrown hair in my leg.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that's how we find ourselves sometimes
why
in these
think,
situations. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, as you recognized, I think that part of the transformation, if I don't let me put words in your mouth, but was this idea that to strengthen this trust muscle, right? Because it comes down to that so much, and trusting the Lord, not maybe too far down the path, but what do I do next? How do I get up from this place, right? What did you
yep.
find you needed to surrender? What was he asking you to surrender in order to trust him more?
Well, and I didn't know that this was a problem. I mean,
Isn't that the way it is too? I didn't know I would be here. I don't know how I got here, and I didn't know that I was dealing with this. Thanks for bringing all of this to light, Lord, right?
exactly. I mean, I was the oldest child of three, and I was the mom of three, and I okay, I can claim a little bossiness in that, but I think the thing to surrender was control.
Mm,
And, I think that's hard for everybody,
yes.
but all of a sudden I found myself, and I was in a wheelchair. I mean, now I'm here by myself, just living life. And my husband sets me up for the day and makes sure I have everything I need. And then I can just live. I'm independent. But for a long time, I wasn't.
Mm,
And, even now there are certain things that I can't do, but to have to rely on other people for just the basic stuff,
yes.
you know, feeding in the beginning. It's like, here, let me feed you with the spoon. And I'm like, please don't, because it's humiliating, but it makes you humble and it makes you grateful that these people are willing to do that for you. Um, and to this day, I still need help getting dressed and in the shower and I'm thankful that God just gave me a man who would care for me in that way. And the kids have all we're empty nesters now, but and at the time they were like, okay, what do you need? But they were also what the really cool thing is my family never saw me as disabled. I was the only one who saw the
Mm,
disability. And I remember one day my daughter was in the kitchen getting herself a drink, and I said, hey, could I have something to drink? She's like, you can get it. And I was so mad at her. But then she's like, no, I want you to get it. I don't want you to just curl up.
yeah. And so I think that's God in our
Yeah.
life, isn't it? Isn't that voice that I want you to depend on me,
Yeah.
but I also want you to know that I will help you do whatever I'm asking you to do. Right. Like there, yes. And so sometimes I
Yeah.
think his instruction for us, or his equipping us, feels like pulling back when actually he's inviting us to lean in, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was tough for her to say too. I wonder. How does this change your relationships? I would think that with your, especially with your close people, your husband, your children, that it had a lot of influence or change happen, transformation perhaps in your relationships as well.
Yeah. I don't think it has.
Oh, interesting.
I really don't think it has. I mean, we all lived through a point in time that we would just rather skip over and not remember, you know? But we're on the other side. We're doing life really successfully. But what I think, not so much in the relationship between me and them, but in them and God, it
Oh,
just became more powerful for all of us.
yeah. I love that. I love that
Yeah.
that's what you've experienced.
Yeah, because so many people pull away. And it's in these moments of crisis we need to lean in because we have no control over the situation. And so we need to lean into the only one who has control and just know that he promises us that all things will work out for our good and his glory.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm thankful that even my kids at the time, they were 13, 15, and 18, that they still are growing in their faith as adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big blessing.
That is, that is. What kind of fruit do you see at this point in your life because of this transformation?
Um, well, being able to share my story, I mean, at the time, we were lucky to be able to use cell phones. You know what I mean? My husband had this cell phone and he was texting people updates and such, and he didn't know what to do. He's like, okay, I'm poking these things, but now here we have this internet, and we're doing these recordings and video chats and having blogs and live video where we can just post it places and get the word out. And here I am. I mean, I am an empty nester. I'm not a young person. This is not my technology, but here I am telling my story, and people are being impacted by that.
Mm.
I hear, I get emails and comments on my website and, in my Facebook group and all of these things of how my story has impacted their relationship with the Lord and inspired them to, maybe pick up their prayer habit where they might have lost it, or their daily Bible study
Mm.
and walking with the Lord. And so, who would have known that he would have used my story to reach these people?
Right.
And that's just, it's mind blowing, but it's also very humbling.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. If you, I didn't pose this to you ahead of time, but if you had to say, I was and now I am, what would you, maybe you would fill that in?
Hmm. I was,
Just in terms of the transformation.
I think I was a newbie in Christ, even though I wasn't.
Mm,
But I learned how to have a relationship with him through this process.
I love that. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So often it's the seasons of desperation and wrestling that we do not want to find ourselves in,
Yeah.
that we are made aware, or our heart is open to the presence of, not that it was always there, but our heart is differently open to the presence of a loving, faithful God. And somehow that plants seeds in our hearts that just, when nurtured, grow,
Mhm.
and now it's grown in you in a different way that does actually overflow and bless others. And so what a
My
beautiful
whole
testimony.
message is joy, peace, positivity, gratitude, and all of these things are fruit
Yes.
that, with a relationship with him, that we can grow. So often I hear, well, I've been through this, that, or other thing, and I don't know if I'll ever be joyful again or even have peace in my life. And I said, you know what? If you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, you have those things.
Yes.
You just need to fix it.
He promises us life in abundance. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to do the brave thing and claim it, claim the
Yeah.
life that he offers, right? Oh, you are an inspiration, my friend. You
Oh,
really are. And I really appreciate this time with you and your willingness to just share a little bit more of your heart so that we know you better. And so, yeah, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
well, thank you very much. It was just an honor to be included.
Oh, and thank you, friend, for listening. Until next time, peace.